Avatar: The Last Airbender may take place in a fantasy world, but it draws on elements of real-world cultures. So today, we're diving into the real-life inspirations of the world of Avatar. Up first, the inspirations behind airbending and the air nomads.
Air is the element of freedom. The air nomads detached themselves from worldly concerns and found peace and freedom.
Airbending is based on a style of martial arts called Bagua, or Bagwajang. It uses constant spiral movements and circle walking. In combat, a Bagua practitioner can get behind their opponent and keep moving so they can't turn to face them, just like Aang does to Zuko. In creating the Western Air Temple, designers reference root styles from Bhutanese monasteries, just flipped upside down.
It's amazing!
While the Eastern Air Temple took inspiration from a different region altogether. Its designers were influenced by the ruins of Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Aang's asymmetrical outfit, which he wore in Book 3, was inspired by Shaolin monks' clothing. And the beaded necklace that he wears after defeating the Fire Lord may have been based on prayer beads called mala, used in Hindu and Buddhist religious traditions. Even APPA'S armor for the invasion has real-life influences. The armor design references Chinese and Tibetan horse armor, as well as Thai elephant armor. Hey, when you're designing for a 10-ton bison, it makes total sense to reference elephant armor.
Hey, I'm trying to build Appa some armor here so he doesn't have to go into the invasion naked. He's your bison.
Following the flow of the Avatar cycle, let's move on to the water tribes.
The people of the water tribe are capable of adapting to many things. They have a deep sense of community and love that holds them together through anything.
The northern and southern water tribes were strongly influenced by indigenous cultures and societies. Up at the North Pole, the northern water tribe city includes references to Inuit and other indigenous architecture, and even folds in influences from India. In particular, the northern water tribe buildings use whale bones for structural support. This could be a reference to Thule architecture. The Thule culture were predecessors to modern Inuit groups, and they use whale bones in building their winter houses. Like Inuit architecture, the architecture of the water tribes incorporates snow and ice. Unlike in the real world, though, waterbenders in the northern water tribe could use their bending to build fantastical structures with just ice. And here's another similarity. Traditionally, most Inuit tribes didn't live in igloos year-round, just in the winter. During the summer, they live in tents made from wood and animal skins. And we can see here that the southern water tribe village is made up of a mix of snow structures and tents. And once Team Avatar travels to warmer areas in their world, they set up tents made from animal skins and wood.
Sorry, do you need to talk to Sokka too?
Nope, not me.
Well, hello!
Now let's talk about water tribe clothes. Water tribe clothing is inspired by traditional Inuit clothing. Both Sokka and Katara have parkas made from animal skins with fur trim, which were inspired by traditional Inuit parkas made from caribou and seal hides. Seal hides are also used for making mittens and boots, because they're naturally water resistant.
Why is it that every time you play with magic water, I get soaked?
Now, let's talk about Sokka's weapons. His club is carved from a polar bear bone, but its shape is very similar to ball-headed clubs like this one that were used by indigenous peoples in the Northeast and the Great Lakes region before the 19th century. And then there's the boomerang.
I'm always right back at you, like my boomerang.
The returning boomerang that Sokka uses is likely based on the boomerangs used by Aboriginal peoples in Australia.
Boomerang! You do always come back!
While a lot of the water tribes' clothing, tools, and architecture are based on indigenous cultures, waterbending is based on the Chinese martial art of Tai Chi. The flowing, soft movements of Tai Chi were a great match for the element of water. Also, the concept of yin and yang and their constant flux are deeply entwined with Tai Chi, which might have influenced waterbending's origins in the opposing push and pull of the moon and ocean.
Twi and La, your moon and ocean, have always circled each other in an eternal dance. They balance each other, push and pull, life and death, good and evil, yin and yang.
Next up, the largest of the four nations, the Earth Kingdom.
The people of the Earth Kingdom are diverse and strong.
First, we'll dive into the Earth Kingdom capital, Ba Sing Se. The huge outer wall around Ba Sing Se was inspired by the Great Wall of China. And the living quarters for soldiers that are built into the Great Wall inspired these Earth Kingdom barracks that are built onto the side of Ba Sing Se's wall. Beijing's Forbidden City inspired the Earth King's palace grounds, and the palaces of Beijing directly influenced the scale and grandeur of the Earth King's throne room. The huge throne room is also meant to sharply contrast with the Earth King himself, who is just a normal guy with a normal bear.
You mean platypus bear?
No, it just says bear.
Certainly you mean his pet skunk bear.
Or his armadillo bear.
Gopher bear?
Just bear.
The citizens of the Upper Ring wear clothes similar to styles from China's Qing dynasty. The clothes that Toph's parents dress her in are based on styles from the Tang dynasty. In other areas of the Earth Kingdom, styles are influenced by different cultures. The Kyoshi warriors, for example, wear Japanese-inspired clothes, and their fans are likely inspired by Japanese war fans, or Tessin.
Think of the fan as an extension of your arm.
Song and her mother wear clothes similar to Korean hanbok. Meanwhile, Jet's gang wears clothing from all over the four nations, even though they're all from the Earth Kingdom. Earthbending, which unites the diverse Earth Kingdom, is based on Hungar Kung Fu. A southern style of Kung Fu, Hungar is known for its strong stances, strong stepping, and lateral transitions.
For the Earth Kingdom, attack!
Since Toph's the greatest earthbender in the world, she got her own unique style of earthbending, which is based on southern praying mantis Kung Fu. There's actually a legend that this style of Kung Fu was started by a blind woman, so it's a perfect inspiration for Toph.
I see with earthbending. It's kind of like seeing with my feet. I feel the vibrations in the earth.
Finally, let's dive into the Fire Nation. The Fire Nation's landscape is inspired by the volcanic landscapes of Iceland, and Gullfoss in Iceland inspired the Shujing waterfall in Sokka's Master.
You added a rainbow.
Is that okay?
But while its landscape is based on Iceland, the Fire Nation's buildings are heavily influenced by Asian architecture. The first Fire Nation building that we get to see in Avatar is the Fire Sage's Temple in Book 1. This temple is based on the Yellow Crane Tower in Wuhan, China. The background artists felt that the curling, flame-like rooftop corners on Yellow Crane Tower were a perfect fit for the Fire Nation's architecture. But ironically, the flames on the Yellow Crane Tower are actually fish. Oh! That's because the tower sits on the Yangtze River, so it has an aquatic motif. But Avatar's background designers changed the fish into flames, and they became a lasting motif in Fire Nation architecture. The Fire Lord's throne room draws on Chinese architecture too, but it also was inspired by the Great Hypo-style Hall in Karnak, Egypt, and other Egyptian architecture. Many different areas of the world inspired different parts of the Fire Nation. Master Peon Dao's castle was designed with Tibetan influences in mind, while the swords in Sokka's Master were based on Chinese references. Specifically, a collection of swords owned by martial arts consultant Sifu Kisu. The design and animation teams tried to preserve as much detail as possible in bringing the collection into the world of Avatar.
Ooh! That's what Sokka's talking about.
The design of the town and the Painted Lady was influenced by fishing villages in Halong Bay, Vietnam. Ember Island is inspired by Thailand. And originally, the Sun Warriors buildings were meant to reference the ziggurats of ancient Mesopotamia. Through the design process and collaboration, the vision for the Sun Warriors civilization transformed, so that the final design ended up being heavily influenced by Mayan ruins.
Okay, we learned something about architecture. Hopefully we'll learn something about firebending too.
When it came to firebending, animators looked to Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, a dynamic style of martial arts with strong arm and leg movements, kicking and leaping techniques, wide stances, and whirling circular blocks.
I have mastered the elements 1,000 times in 1,000 lifetimes. Now, I must do it once again. You will teach the Avatar firebending.
But those are just some of the many influences that went into creating the world of Avatar. And while inspirations came from all over the world, from Iceland to Venice, Italy, British Columbia, Canada, and the Panama Canal, Avatar celebrates the Asian and Indigenous cultures that strongly influence its fantastical world.
Understanding others, the other elements, and the other nations will help you become whole.
What's your favorite part of the world of Avatar? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe for new Avatar videos every week.